I think this is better to be explained from the other book. Do you have the grammar for Ielts book?
I can search for it on the internet.
No, I have it now, but I would highly recommend you download this, because because it will, you know, it will tweak your grammar, and you know, it'll give you a sense of formality. All right, okay. Now I want you to take a look at, I'm gonna just, you know, just to help you focus. Can you read only the purple sentences? And they are separated here in the middle. Now tell me what you feel. Read both of them, okay?
Okay.
Did you read both
What
of them?
about these two sentences? Yeah.
What do you feel?
I think it's a good description of this kind of injury.
All right. Do you feel there's a difference between the first and the second? Is it the same thing? Is it describing a different thing? Is it? How would you compare these two? What do you think?
The second one is more interesting.
Why is that?
It's like a story, especially the sentence. It just got bigger and bigger.
And what about the first one?
It's more formal.
Okay, so you got this point correct. The first one is actually more formal, yes. Now, what about the overall meaning of the sentences? Is it the same or not the same?
Yeah, I feel it's the same.
It's the same. It's actually a paraphrase. You know, it's the same thing. They're talking about exactly the same thing. But the way it's written is so different. Because if you break it down at each bit here, take a look at this. Now, the normal reaction, and here we say the normal reaction, and here we say we have burning pain, and here we have, let's use a color code أحسن. هو حتى شو اسمه swell up.
It looks like the first sentence uses more nouns.
There you go. You've discovered the mystery. One of the mysteries of formal English. قصة الناونز. هذا ليش هو اسم القاعدة nominalization. جاية من nouns, because nomi is name in Latin.
ثانية كلها verbs بس.
كلها verbs. هذا ايش قلت لك الphrasal verbs. You're gonna have to drop them because they're too informal. And when you said the second one is more interesting, I was like, I hope not, because the second one is how you shouldn't write in Ielts. Do you get the idea? It's way too informal.
I get it.
Yeah. So if I'm just gonna give you a little context to this. Now, here reasons for using this nominalization thing, this using nouns. It's saying turning actions into nouns, we make the text sound less personal and more authoritative. You need to give the feeling you know what you're talking about, and it's not personal. Do you get the idea? You want to sound like a writer of some medical text or some scientific text. So you can't use personal pronouns. It's not that you can't. It's better not to. Do you get the idea? So this is one thing. This is quite important. And adding information, you can use normalization for adding information. This is also important. To avoid repetition by using a determiner like this increase. The number of unemployed increased by 5%. The reason for this increase, so this is just a use of determiner. It gives a formal feeling.
I'm starting to get scared of something here.
What is it?
Is 10 days a good period of to get used to this, to what you mentioned earlier?
I think it is. I think it's enough, you know, because you don't really have major issues. It's just a style. It's a style of writing. Yeah. I would highly recommend you read as many model answers as you can. Examiner, you know, from
that's what I was planning to do, starting from this point. From now on.
You need to do that. Here it's actually explaining the difference. In spoken English, it says we use subject verb to describe an event. I reacted badly, right? But in formal language, it's, you know, my foot began to go red. So you can see there's this dissociation between I and my foot. You can see, you get the idea. And if you go a step further, then it becomes noun, 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 because you're describing events. It's even here, you can say, we can also change some adjectives to nouns. Instead of saying the cathedral is tall, you can say the cathedral's height makes it visible. You see, this little switch has already made the sentence a lot more formal. The cathedral is tall and can be seen. Instead of can be seen, let's just say visible. You know,
I'm starting to appreciate how formal English is written.
Yeah, written English is, like I said, it's a completely different story. It's like another language, and technically it is kind of another language, to be honest, because spoken English has adapted or has evolved faster than written English. Written English still has lots of remnants from your other European influences like French or the Germanic languages, but spoken English is evolving at a much faster pace.
I've never thought about that before, but I think this what you're saying is true.
Yes. So you know, there's quite a big change in spoken English, especially spoken English. Even think of words like Google it. You know, Google is a noun. Why are we using it like a verb? But it's become so common. You can use Google as a verb, and it's fine, and people understand it. So English is very, very flexible, spoken English, but written English is, you know, it's not as flexible.
So they won't be as strict as in writing when they mark my speaking?
No, definitely not, because in speaking, in spoken language, you shouldn't be too informal, but it's but still,
but in the same time it shouldn't be too formal.
It's a little hard to be too formal when you speak, you know, because even if you check, because sometimes I attend lectures, you know, from universities, because they have free courses. If you go to Yale, MIT, Harvard, Chicago, you know, most of them have random lectures. So sometimes if I'm interested in something, I search it on YouTube and just watch the whole course.
TEDx.
Or TEDx. TEDx tends to be a little less formal and less academic because it's meant for the general public. But if you watch lectures from universities, you will see the professors speaking, you know, semi-formally, but every now and then they will include spoken language expressions, you know, just to perk up the students, to get them interested, to get them engaged. So they kind of mix. You'll see this switching between semi-formal to spoken English. Even though the topic they're discussing is quite formal, they might be talking about political relations, international relations. They might be talking about linguistics and the history of language. It depends on what the topic is, but you can notice these things.